Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I know this is going to be very upsetting for a lot of you to hear, but since we have another speaker this morning, I'm going to keep my remarks brief. I know. I'm sorry. On Monday night, we had this incredible opportunity to come together as community. It's a difficult time to come together as community because it's for marking something that's really difficult. We came together for the commemoration of Tisha B'Av, which is the commemoration of the destruction of the first temple, the second temple, and a whole litany of other terrible things that have happened to the Jewish people throughout history. But there we sat together, a bunch of different communities around Metro Detroit coming together to be able to say those ancient words of Eicha, to sit on the floor in the dim light, and to remember. And one thing becomes very clear after the commemoration of Eicha, after the commemoration of Tisha B'Av, is that we stand in that moment of sadness, of that profound melancholy, but then we make a shift the following day. And that shift, now this might be something that you might really be upset to hear, is a shift that says we are really close to the high holidays. Really close. We are less than 2 months away. We are about 5.5 weeks away from the high holidays. They are coming soon. And this period of the calendar, the period of the Jewish calendar where we are right now, this path of consolation, is one that is all about gearing our hearts for Elul and getting us prepared for the days of awe, for the Yamim Noraim. That is where we are. But I think that there is something in this part of our calendar that is a bit misunderstood. Because we often look at this moment, we look at these days of consolation, but then going into the month of Elul as a time for personal reflection, personal meditation, being able to do what our rabbis call cheshbon hanefesh, to be able to do an accounting of our souls, to be able to look at the ways that we have wronged God, the ways that we have wronged one another, and we focus on how we ourselves can be redeemed when it comes to those closing moments of Yom Kippur, when we are standing together for Ne'ilah and the ark is open and we are waiting to see if our prayers will be accepted. That is what this moment in time is about. Seemingly. And I say seemingly because our rabbis have something to say about that. And in a beautiful commentary, a beautiful midrash, which takes on the opening text of our Parashat this morning, our rabbis have this incredible conversation. They tell this incredible story, this incredible narrative of what happens to Moshe Rabbeinu before the very opening words of our Parasha, because the Parasha is actually pretty interesting in the way that Moshe opens it, because it is all about Moshe speaking to the Jewish people and saying, this is where we have been, this is where we are going. But the opening lines is this great moment, this incredible moment of vulnerability, where Moshe Rabbeinu says, by the way, I don't get to come. I don't get to go with you. And I think it really is a line of pathos, of this incredible emotional moment where Moshe is saying, please know that while I'm serving in this leadership position, while I'm saying all of these blessings for your benefit, I am heartbroken that I have to stay here. And so the Midrash, this incredible midrash called Yalkut Shmoneh, says what happens to Moshe Rabbeinu right before this moment. Moshe finds out that he is not going to be allowed to enter with the Israelites into the land flowing with milk and honey. And our tradition tells us that the reason he's not allowed is because he struck this rock in his moment of anger and frustration, and because his emotion overflowed, he can no longer enter Eretz Yisrael. And so the rabbis tell us in Yalkut Shmoneh, in this incredible midrash, they tell this story, that Moshe Rabbeinu finds out that his fate is sealed, and he breaks down. And he draws a circle in the sand where he is standing and says, God, I am not moving from this spot until you allow me to enter into the land. And God says, you're not moving from that spot then. Enough. And then Moshe responds by saying, God, I am begging you, please let me turn into a beast, an animal, that I may enter into Eretz Yisrael as an animal, so at least I can experience it as an animal. And God says, enough. You're not coming in as an animal. You're not entering this land. And Moshe pushes back again and says, let me become a bird so that I can fly around and at least gaze upon Eretz Yisrael as a bird flying above. And God says, enough. It's not happening, Moshe. And then God finally stops and says, Moses, I'll make a deal with you. You can go. You can enter the land. You get all the benefits of the land flowing with milk and honey. All of the land is yours. But the condition is that you go by yourself. And everyone else, they wait here. And in that moment, it is when Moshe Rabbeinu understands the profundity of this moment, that it's not about him. It's not about what he needs, what he wants so desperately in that moment. It is about the benefit of the kahal. It is about the benefit of the community. My friends, we are in this walk, we are in this march towards the high holidays, and thousands of years separated from that moment of Moshe Rabbeinu thinking about himself, we are in a society that is obsessed with me, the I, the ego, the idea of what is in it for me. But our tradition tells us very clearly and very starkly at this moment to say, it's not about you. And even though we focus on this idea of how do I do tshuva, how do I enter this place of repentance, how do I make it so that my name can be written in the book of life, our rabbis tell us it's not about that. It's about this. And I know that that might not seem like such a big deal, but this is what it's all about, my friends. As we work our way to the high holidays, it is all about us being able to celebrate Leonard Baruch's birthday, 102nd birthday. It is about us being able to honor our Mumford graduates. It is about celebrating birthdays, anniversaries of B'nai Mitzvah. It is about celebrating the things that we celebrate as a family, as a community. It is about holding each other tight as we mourn, as we hold each other in heartbreak. It is about us. It's about us. And so as we enter into this moment in our calendar, I want to challenge all of us. It is easy to think about this time as, what do I need to do to get myself ready for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? That's where our minds go. But the Yalchut Shmoni, the Midrash, tells us that the real ikar, the real essence of this moment in our calendar is for all of us to take a step back and say, what do I do to make my community better, to make my kahal better, to celebrate this family? Each and every one of you belong to something so much bigger than yourselves. And it is an incredible blessing that we get to call this family. And I don't want any of that to be lost on us this morning. I don't want us to think about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as the me show. I want to think of it as our family growing, getting better, building us one day at a time, supporting us as we stand before those open doors at Ne'ilah and say, God, redeem us. Redeem us. So my friends, I want to say this morning, thank you. It is an honor to be a rabbi of this family, because this is an incredible family. Through all the things that we get to celebrate together, through all the things that we hold each other tight for, this is what it's about. May we continue to go from strength to strength. May we continue to celebrate. May we continue to hold each other tight as we work our way to the days of awe. Shabbat Shalom.